Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking another quick peek here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. Just a little update here from earlier today, where obviously the price action was at about 36,300 and has since dumped pretty hard to wick all the way down to 34,800. So congrats again to our community members for some healthy trades here. We took 20% on Bitcoin, 40% on Link, and 49% on Ethereum. Those are all short positions, of course. We got a couple of longs open as well, but they are recovering swiftly. So we're going to talk about this and what's going on. Well, actually, why don't we jump into the back-end data here first and kind of just help understand best practice, I guess, in the big picture, and just recognize that there is some significant liquidation that occurred here. I did mention these high leverage longs are going to get wicked out, and they did pretty hard. I was only expecting, honestly, about the 35,600 mark, but we went all the way down to the 34s. So kind of makes sense. I mean, we've been expecting it for a while. We got a lot of people that are heavy on the shorts, a lot more liquidation levels occurring at higher price points. And if we take a look here at just say the last 12 hours of open interest, most amount of open interest, basically both good and bad, right there at about 36,000 even. Let's just round up to say 36. Taking a look here, we can obviously see the longs got hammered really hard. These are liquidations. That's roughly what, almost 80 million in liquidation at 36,000. This is on one exchange, by the way. And then we can also see, of course, some late longs here entering the market. Okay, probably the inverse as well for shorts. We got a lot of shorts here, of course, in profit right up here at this range at about 36,300. And then, of course, we got some late shorts here as well that are slightly underwater at 35,300. But all good things there for the short positions. Taking a quick look here at the last 7 days. Actually, let's just look at the last 12 hours and kind of see where things are at here. We can kind of see it's kind of ugly here. Honestly, this is not that pretty. The majority of the price action is above the prices. We can see there's very little long liquidation levels below the price action right now. In other words, they all got swept. They got hit really hard. Mind you, there wasn't a heck of a lot at that point. There's a lot more liquidation levels at 34,000. In fact, let's take a quick look at that. You can kind of see here, well, that's changed a little bit, actually, since we last spoke. We got, again, the largest amount at about 28,000. There's a little less here at about 33, 34. Good chance some longs might be closing their position, taking profit, because this is a smaller amount than we saw earlier. Earlier today, as a matter of fact, we saw a larger accumulation at 34,000. I think the longs got a little scared there at that wick down to 34.9. All right, so anyways, that's kind of where we're at there on the back end. Oh, quick little heads up, phenomenal exchange here. We partnered with Bitunix. No KYC, no VPN. Be sure to check it out. Use the link down below if you want some benefits there. Phenomenal deposit rewards. I was able to deposit a decent amount, and I got a healthy reward for that. Again, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but great, easy to use exchange. I highly recommend them. I do understand too as well that BingX is potentially losing, or not losing, sorry. They're just, the KYC might be required with BingX. So again, just trying to make sure we have some alternatives for you guys, because a lot of my US and Canadian members are having difficulty with that. Let's look at the daily and kind of work our way down here, because we got a few different scenarios here. For Elliott Wave, we're going to have to, I mean, we may not have to update our fibs, but just to clarify, this magnet worked pretty well. Not saying it happened because of it, but generally speaking, I was expecting right around 35.6 to be hit, and we worked all the way down to 0.786, that 34,900. So again, significant divergence. Question I get right now a lot is, how much further is it going to go? Well, truth is, we should start seeing a lot of support in this range. Okay, I mentioned this previously. We got some volume support with previous resistance levels. We got some situations where the price action is most that 34,500 mark is a pretty strong accumulation of volume. So again, I do really think we're going to have some support here in this range if the price comes down any lower. For right now, we can kind of just presume the price is going to bounce and hold. We want to wait for the daily candlestick to close. Again, be patient. We got about 2 hours left for the candle here today. It is not set in stone if the candle closes above, but it is a good sign if it does, right? So we always want to pay attention to that. And I got the question earlier, how are you so patient with your trades? How do you not jump in there and not constantly adjust your stop loss? Well, the truth is, you got to set a trade and not necessarily forget it, but you want to go into the trade knowing what you want out of it, right? So if it's a short trade, for example, and you're going to be swing trading, don't try to make it a day trade and get in there and keep adjusting your stop loss. While that is good, sometimes you might need to do that. It's less common and less ideal. There's nothing wrong with adjusting your stop loss while you're in profit, but things can get a little out of hand. You can take profit too soon and not really hit the full maturity. again, trust the TA. It typically works very well. There are nuances, of course, manipulation, as we see here, but generally speaking, that's kind of the concept there. Anyways, okay, so let's get back on track here. Just kind of wrap this up. Liquidity level up above, just to note, right there between 0.236 and basically the 0 mark. We're looking at roughly about, almost $900 in liquidation. In other words, that's a $900 range in liquidation. I'm sure it's actually millions of dollars, don't get wrong, but there's a lot of liquidation up there at that level. So the price has a tendency of coming back to that range. So wouldn't be terrible consideration to consider a long position here in the relative near future. Earlier today, I would have said no, but if we can continue to hold this level and with all this volume support about 34.5, I do think it might be a decent bouncing point here soon. We also hit 70 on the RSI. Correction, I'm sorry, I misspoke. 30 on the RSI, where we can see we're bouncing off this lower price point about 30. So in truth, that is a pretty good, solid little place to bounce. And we can totally see that that is going to be a possible consideration for, I wouldn't say necessarily a long, but if you do look at the history here, typically, I mean, last time we saw 70 on the RSI, of course, well, that was a little bit ago. I'm referring to 30 here. 30 on the RSI was October 11th, and we could see for roughly about 5 trading days, the price went sideways and then took off. Not saying it's going to go sideways and take off here in 5 days, but generally speaking, you hit 70 on the RSI, and the money flow index is this low, there's usually going to be that knee-jerk reaction at the very least to do a dead cat bounce. Okay. So again, we're not in the clear. I wouldn't say go long, go hard at this point, but I would say that there's a better chance we're going to see a little bit of a bounce and a potential recovery than we would the price action going much lower right now. All right, again, that's just that kind of where we're at there. And if we took a look at overextension, we were overextended leading into this. This is a very common occurrence for Bitcoin. Hitting a 9 on TD sequential, people thinking it's going to bounce back and recover because it's been overextended in one direction for too long, and it keeps going. Totally a normal thing. So now that we've overextended ourselves there, we might get a reset and likely, hopefully, get somewhat of a relief rally to the upside. Last thing I want to look at would be the moving averages. This is disadvantageous. We're now under the 100-day SMA. Earlier today, we were talking about potentially riding out that 50-day SMA. So again, we lost that, and now we're potentially underneath this other one. I say potential because the candlestick hasn't closed yet again, but truth is the 100 could provide either a support or may become the new resistance. But right here, about 35,600, that's probably going to be a resistance level for us, considering that was a previous support based on most recent highs. And now we're down below that, fairly official. I would say if we close this next candle underneath that level, then we would confirm that we are bearish in that regard. Take a look at the hourly. Last thing but not least, this is just going to paint the picture that you have a short position open, you want to leave it open. Obviously, lagging spans free and clear, conversion line, baseline, the whole 9 yards here. We have no reason to consider a long position in truth. Again, buying the dip is one thing based on a support level. That's all well and good if you did that, but that's not truly how you're supposed to do it. That's not a full-on confirmation. So to me, I'd much rather wait and see how the price responds to the cloud when it gets there. And if it can't break above, it'll come down lower. Again, it'll be somewhat of a dead cat. In other words, the price comes up to bounce off a resistance level. This should be the resistance level, but we do also have 36,000 as our new resistance. So once more, as before, we are supposed to have 35.6 as a support and 36,000 as support. Now we're going to presume they're going to both be resistances. Okay. So by no means should you be taking a long right now. Again, there are some other larger, bigger picture stuff that tells me that we could be okay to come to the upside, but this is too early. I mean, anytime you've seen these kind of wicks down, majority of the time they don't just continue to run right back the other direction. It takes a little while. I'm going to give the analogy, and I'll let you go. This is an analogy I've given over the years here, and it just seems to work and hit home for a lot of folks. Imagine if you just say you fell down like the last couple of stairs while you're going down a staircase. You're gonna bang your knee. You're gonna probably scuff up your ankles or whatever. You might twist your ankle, but you're likely gonna be able to recover to walk another day. Right? Imagine falling down a flight of stairs though. You're probably gonna be banged up and bruised, potentially even break some bones. You might be wheelchair bound for the rest of your life for a short while. That's what Bitcoin did. It literally fell down a flight of stairs just now, and we cannot expect it just to get up and run a marathon. Okay, it's one of those situations where it's got time. It needs time to recover. So again, all well and good buying the dip, add your spot bag, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you take some profits along the way. Don't be one of those guys that goes 100x at 35,000 and just continues to diamond hand hold until it comes back down to hit the stop loss. Okay, again, you got to take profits in order to be profitable. There's no other way around it. Okay, anyways, I teach all that in my Trading Academy. Check that out if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching. I hope you learned something here today. we'll look forward to seeing the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.